First up, let's take a look at your exchange. It's one of these smaller exchanges that we have in Africa, market cap of around $7.5 million. You've got around 17 listed stocks and around 40 bonds. Right now, what is on the agenda in terms of growing the exchange from your side?
Of issues on the agenda, but basically, as you right, we have few companies in the exchange, while the country has so many companies that can qualify. So our next five-year business plan, which actually we are finalizing this month, is to bring 5 and 6 companies each year into our market. And we are not only looking at the main market board that we currently have and where all 17 companies are listed, but actually we are also going to establish the enterprise growth market segment, which we've been working for during the last 2-3 years. But now everything has been put in place, and we are ready now to operationalize it. And this will target the fast growth and startup companies, the medium scale companies that actually are also, in terms of numbers, in the bigger number than actually the bigger companies in our country.
What is Gabriel, in terms of enticing new listings and companies to list on the exchange, talking to the CEO of the Zambian Stock Exchange, she said it's been quite tough to convince investors and shareholders to give up equity in the company, of course, and use the exchange as a means to raise capital. So what are the biggest hurdles from your side in terms of convincing companies to list?
I think the biggest hurdles include the some companies that are owned by majority investors from countries like, say, Canada, London, or major economies where the parent company is already listed. Sometimes they tend to find it very easy to raise funds from the markets where their parent companies are. But some companies just need to be educated. Some of them just feel that actually there are onerous procedures and requirements, which is not a fact, because coming to market in Dar es Salaam Stock Exchange is more or less the same to any developed stock exchange. So we have a challenge to educate, to convince, and to tell people the procedures, which sometimes are not clearly understood by those companies. But again, yeah.
At this point in time, of course, you do have that 60% limit in terms of foreign ownership, and that is being seen as a limitation in terms of enticing new investors. Are you going to relook that at all, or does that still stand?
Yes, I must agree that actually there is a kind of limitation of the secondary trading because actually we have some companies where people would like to buy shares, but they're already taken up to 60% or above that. But that is central bank that put the capital account requirements. And what I know, they are working on it. They are going to liberalize in stages. I can't give the dates and the amount, but I know that actually everyone is now appreciating that that might be a setback to our market, and actually it has to be revised.
So that is being acknowledged, and as you say, that could potentially come down. Let's look at some of the new listings that are online. We know that in the mining sector, African Barrick Gold is one of the listed companies. In fact, it actually came out with an update today in terms of its output. But apart from that, are we looking at new miners coming onto the market to list this year and in the next year?
Yeah, we have a mining company that actually deals with Tanzanite. All its assets are in Tanzania, but is currently listed at the London Stock Exchange. They've just completed their listing application requirements. We have one remaining item for them to issue to the public, because actually they are not coming to introduce, but they're also offering over 23 million shares to Tanzanians. So it's just one remaining item. They will be allowed to issue shares to the Tanzanians, and then they'll come to list. That will be the second one. We also have a number of companies that have been coming to us for procedures and how they can come, especially from the gas and the gas sector. We don't know which might be faster, but at least there is a big potential that actually that segment might be more exciting in the near future.
Can you give us any names on that front, Gabriel?
The Tanzanite company is Richland. And I can mention the name because actually they've submitted the application and they're in a very good progress toward finalizing public issuance and listing. But the companies in gas, I think they are just in the initial stage, so I don't have to mention their names.
Keeping mum on those. I thought so, Gabriel, but give us an update as well in terms of launching the municipal bond market and also setting up the commodities exchange. What is the timeline for those two projects?
Municipal bonds market, what the country did was, first of all, to establish if it is feasible, and that has been established. The market is, there are 4 municipalities which can go to the market directly, and some can go through a trust or kind of a vehicle that will issue a bond and then on lend to them because they are still small. What was being done currently was to try to set up the some regulations and also change a policy that currently require any municipality to borrow after having got an approval from the Minister of Finance. Now that has to be done with because actually once they are allowed to borrow, they have to be able to showcase on their governance structures and ability to repay and not to get approvals from the government. On the commodities market, the government is very serious to have that up and running very soon. But what is being done right now is to try to see how best it should be set up. So actually people are looking to different aspects on the operating systems, the linkages with the payment system. The warehouse receipt system is already in place and it is very well developed, but that is for just a few crops. So again, studies are also being done on other crops. And basically, the crops that are under warehouse receipt system right now are just soft commodities, but also in future, maybe even minerals will also be included. So the two, the municipal bond market and the commodities market are coming up very soon. I can't give the time frame because actually I'm just one of the stakeholders, but I don't see 2013 going by without having products from those market segments.
Gabriel, great to have that update from you and great to have you with us here in South Africa. Gabriel Kitua, Chief Executive Officer from the Salaam Stock Exchange.